I'm on, right?
You're on.
Okay.
We see you. Hi, guys.
Fucking son sees me too. Typical.
That looks good, brother.
Right in
Yeah.
my fucking face.
I do want to say, I mean, you brought it up. So how come on our podcast, this is the lighting we get for Andy, but when he does the Mind Dog live stream, it's fucking even. It's like you had a light tech in there adjusting.
What was his time? Yeah, whatever time he started was the sun. It started, fucking with me, but yeah, it does come out. It's like it's been behind clouds for a long time. I sit in this chair, and then right in my fucking face.
Then let's get right to it. What time was that exactly?
Let's see. It was 5. It was exactly at this.
The same time as now.
But adjust the clocks back or forward.
That's how we got stuck with Andy and Son.
Yeah. And this used to be my Achilles heel because when I was when I was a young boy, my mom had me convinced I was allergic to the sun. So here I am, fucking still have it in my face and still alive, Mom.
But to what end? So that she didn't have to take you to the beach?
I think I get a skin rash a little bit, but I wasn't allergic to the sun.
It's called sunburn. We all get it.
Well, yeah. I wasn't like an albino. I wasn't an albino. I didn't,
So your parents were overprotective up until the point that they farmed you out to get molested?
Exactly. Yeah. We couldn't get Woody Allen to come to our house, so I went to Woody Allen's house.
Chad.
As long as that guy kept Andy inside, everything was fine.
There were rules.
Yeah, it was always sunny when I was there. We never had one of our activities rained out. I remember that.
Andy would come back from a weekend with that guy, and he'd have those sunglasses they give you at the eye doctor.
Well, speaking of that, I got bumped up in my dental cleaning till this morning, and I thought I've been opening my mouth really wide when I take a shower and letting the shower hopefully grab the tartar out of there,
Hollow Vanna White.
Yeah, like gurgling just to a point of waterboard myself, thinking that was going to be the ticket. And I got to the dentist. I was supposed to go like next week, but somehow anyway, my appointment was this morning. I was a little late, found out about it late in the game, got there, and so we're going to do the cleaning. And she says, well, it's going to take about 2 hours. And I says, well, I don't know. I've been doing a lot of work on it. and
you thought you could talk it down?
Yeah. She goes, that's not how these things go. You had a bad infection, and I didn't tell her about the shower nozzle, so I was just, hopeful. But then she hits me with this bullshit, and I've never had one of these before. She says, so we'll just give you an injection in your mouth. And like, whoa, what? I never had a needle in my mouth ever, and she's gonna fucking she goes, well, we'll put it in and then I'll put it in each of the gum. Like, wait, no, multiple piercings, and then
that's a hell of a cleaning there, Andy.
Yeah, that was just half of the mouth. So she numbed half of the mouth.
Yeah, they gotta numb them up.
Yeah, and then she cleaned, but the cleaning was after the shots and stuff, and I didn't even get it. I didn't look at the needle, and I just thought like I was just having awkward sex or something. I thought about anything like eating chips or I'm just eating chips and it hurts my mouth or whatever. But I tried not to think I was getting jammed in the mouth with a needle and then in the cheek, but the cleaning was fucking nothing. I'm all like Coke without the high. And then she goes, I'll give you a little break after I give you the injection in the other side of your mouth. And it's like, when you're doing gummers, you like to even it out so you're numb on both sides. At this point, I don't care about needles anymore. I just want to be numbed up. So she's fucking getting both of them, and then man, it's like you swallow your lip. You're gonna swallow your big giant lip. It's like I had a fucking big, like a piece of a hamburger in my mouth the whole day. So that was fun, but I bought at the bottom of my mouth. That's probably why you're seeing such good light. Yeah, it's coming.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I can't
But
tell because
Yeah, it's natural light reflecting off the gleaming teeth.
glint off the lower teeth.
Kind of blind. You
Yeah,
got
but
your
I can't.
money's worth.
So you didn't have a filling or anything done, just a cleaning?
Yeah,
Because
I
I've
don't-
never had more Novocaine for a cleaning in my entire
Oh,
life.
yeah.
They've never done that.
No,
She
you
said,
gotta
"Can I
do
get you
that.
anything?"
You gotta.
Before she gave me the
For
needle,
a
and I said,
cleaning?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's like
No,
fucked
they
up.
don't.
I
Yeah.
fucked up.
Oh,
It's the-
Chad, remember, this was a special case.
Here's
They
what
said
I
it was going
think.
to be 4 hours
Well,
for him to get
Here's what
teeth
I
cleaned.
think, though. but
Well,
when you
I
do
forget.
deep
He
clean-
just said he was water picking them with a shower, so I guess that does make kind of
Well,
sense. But
I mean, not that it's in my notes or anything, but I'm a flincher and I don't like mouth pain and that sort of shit. So you know,
Yeah.
I tend so,
Unlike
but
the rest of
but
us,
this makes it
we like
easier
mouth
for
pain.
everybody, you know. I mean, I don't like the needles, but once you're numb and shit, you're not going to be making too many, you know, conversations. You know, it's like, or you just go with it, and so I'm pro needle now. I may try heroin. I may try heroin for real.
That could be a problem.
And I wonder if you can put heroin in your cheek.
Just
That'd be all
right into your gum.
Yeah, you gum line and then just put heroin or no cocaine, heroin, and then heroin. Cheeks and teeth, different things. I don't know, like duck, goose. But yeah, I got another 2 weeks before the top, and then I'll be fucking, ready to go.
Back
Ready
in
to
the game.
Yeah. I didn't know I was out of the game, but man, I'm glad I don't experience any of that pain. And I think they can use more like equipment and shit. Because there was a middle thing. I'm not sure what that was. It's like kind of a half grinder. I don't know, but
Andy, you might not know this because, well, I mean, this goes back to the 70s when
lost.
you didn't even go to the dentist back then. There's been a lot of advancements in
Yeah.
dentistry and equipment.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like what they probably did when they polished it, it's this thing right here. But
Yeah.
what they probably did was they used the sonic, like the ultrasound, and
There was that.
that's a good way to get in there without having to use the pick, which is what they use after that.
I
And
hate
that
the
takes
fucking
a
pick.
long time to get in there.
Yeah, when they get that, when you got a piece of tartar and they got that pick in there, and they're just like hard to come out, and they're just like pulling your fucking face off. Yeah, I didn't have any of that today, but it was awkward when I tried to drink Gatorade.
Are you sure you were at a dentist office? Maybe you got tricked.
No, it was a cleaning. It sure was.
I'm still confused because the thing you're showing us there and the subsonic and even the pick, none of that requires Novocaine. So
Yeah.
that's what
She goes, "Can I get you anything?" And I said, "Nitrous." Before she's just gonna
They
give me the
never
needle.
say that.
She didn't like the.
They'd have to say no all the time.
Yeah. I should have been
Go in and
persistent.
ask, and they go, "Okay, how many shots do you want?" That doesn't happen.
I sort of am getting tired of telling people what a pussy I am with needles every time it comes up. Like one time I just like to man up and act like it doesn't fucking hurt or bother me instead of going, who's a good bleeder here? Who's good at this? I get a little funny around needles, I say, and then I always get a laugh or two, so I am accurate in that.
Another corporate private show.
Yeah.
Too bad there's not a comedy club called Needle, so I always get funny around Needle.
Yeah.
Chad, have you been drinking?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm thinking about drinking, but I kind of want to drink like the character in Sam Tallent's book where he was trying not to drink booze, so he just drank mouth rinse. So I got a Coca-Cola over here, and I'm like, do I really want to put sugar in that fucking damaged gum line that I got going here? She showed me what was going on. She showed me, and I was like, holy fuck, man. You know, it's like watching a fucking horror movie. So I'm gonna do better this time. I'm gonna,
Yeah,
but
you're gonna go in there and it's gonna be Nurse Ratchet, and you go, "Oh, hey, yeah, let's start on this side with the shots." And she's gonna go, "There will be no shots."
yeah, yeah. I
What are you
tried to
talking
just,
about, sir? This is a
shot.
cleaning.
We don't even
Have you
have
been washing these in the shower? What is the matter with you?
Get out of here. Hey, really quick, I do want to mention. You brought up Sam Tallent's awesome book, Running the Light. It's now available on Audible. Get in there and get it because it's narrated by a bunch of comics, Doug and Bert Kreischer being two of them that I know of, and we got it for the rest of our ride home. You can get it at samtalent.com or just on Audible. Look it up, Running the Light.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice
and
of Sam
Yeah.
to
in the first
Sam
chapter.
to-
I'm in the I'm mentioned in the first chapter in a way that's not something that's out of. It's fiction. It's fiction, but nonfiction. Fiction in the fact that I've never been to that town.
and-
What town was that? It was
We figured it was fiction because it was set in a dentist office.
well, I was a stranger to him till I was 19, or so, and shit, if I didn't have good tooth enamel, I wouldn't have teeth. As I was told that, and that was accurate at the Coquille dentist. The dentist said that I had such hard tooth enamel, I'd probably never get a cavity. And I was like, fuck, let me prove him wrong. And go to sleep with popcorn in my mouth, eat pizza late at night, drink myself to sleep. Forget about what a toothbrush is sometimes on the road for 3 or 4 days at a time. And go, oh yeah, that's something I needed. What was it? I still got every fucking thing in place.
Oh, God damn it. God bless you.
Yeah, I bet. I used to bite caps off and shit.
Just showing off then.
Yeah, I won't do that now. There's a lot of shit I used to do that I won't do anymore. I won't jump from platforms anymore. Done with that. It was never. People never really appreciated it anyway. Half the
I
time,
don't believe you.
Well, I'd like to think I'm done with that.
I just don't believe it.
That's
I'm like the
different
rest.
than never doing it again.
I'm one drunk stun
Yeah.
away from being in a wheelchair, man.
But
Aren't we
you've
all?
always
Yeah.
been one drunk stun away. For some
So I used
reason, you got your lower teeth cleaned, and now it's changed your outlook.
Well,
Mhm.
I know. So, I mean, it is sad. The older you get, the less chances you take. And you should be like, fuck this, man. I got about, 15 good years at most. I might as well fucking take this off ramp.
Yeah. Yeah, just hit the gas and ride it out.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to send that link to Shaylee, but I watched some Matt Rice, who was at one of the first desert parties, sent me a link, and I think it's the Darwin documentary. It's an hour, and it is a documentary about the ghost town, Darwin, California.
Yeah.
Which I think did you go in there, Chad? I don't think you did.
No, I didn't
but
go with you guys.
we've all been there. The rest of us have been there. It's like 17 miles off the main road. It's about 25 miles from where we camped there at Panamint, and it's this it's a mining town of fucking weirdos. I mean, it's a ghost town, but there was 39 people that they said it during this movie, but that's not counting people who didn't come forward or it's a place of fucking weirdos and delusional people. And I watched that thing, and they mentioned Gravel, I forget the last name. Gravel Healy, who was, and so when I got to town, Doug told me to go check out. He didn't say there were any people there, but it's a ghost town, so I went out there after the first desert party and I was taking pictures. Yeah, that's his shit there. And when I went out there, it was 2003. So and I met an old woman. She was like had dementia. She's fucking batty as shit, you know. She's talking about her husband who just died, and then, you know, like he died 20 years ago. Like, and then I was like, you know, coming back from the desert party with all the drugs swimming in my head. I wasn't sure it was real. I was sitting there, it's like, you know, this is fucking real. But she offered to let me charge my camera, which I wanted to do. And then she goes, I'll fix you something. And she put one of the like, cinnamon swirl cookies she took out of a packet, put it on a plate and put it in the microwave and set it for a couple minutes. Like, you know, those are not that good anyway. I don't know what, a few minutes. And then she goes and she poured some coffee, and it was like fucking, you know, it had to be at least 3, 4 to 5 days old sludge. And then handed me that. And then gave me the cookie on a plate, and it was fucking, you know, sizzling. And then she just carried on her fucking stories, and I thought maybe, you know, I mean, I got to charge in my camera anyway, so I thought at least the electricity's real. So I'm getting that, and then I step outside, and a old Datsun pickup truck pulls up all abruptly fast in front of her house there. And it's Cindy. I don't know if anyone met Cindy. She hung out with the Indians down there in Lower Town. But Cindy pulled up, and she was, I assumed later, high on methamphetamine and real. And she goes, what are you doing over here? And I go, what? And then the old lady come out, and we had a good old visit, you know, like you do there in the ghost town. And Cindy yammering on, and then she told me she had a lot of cool shit over at her house I could take pictures of. And I go, oh, okay. And then she goes, this is Gravel. He's a poet and an author. And Gravel had his head in he's like leaned in the truck there, the window half down, and he had fucking shit in his beard. And I think he only had a couple of teeth, but he goes, how you dare you? And this is like 9:30, 10 in the morning. This guy is fucking shit drunk. And it was so I went over to her place, and it was just a horde of fucking, you know, and I could hear cats, but I couldn't see them. And eventually one of them squirted out of a pile of rubbish, and she goes, you want a kitten? And I go, oh no, I don't want a kitten. And I had my dog Sydney with me in the car, but she hands me this kitten, and I later found out it was way too young to separate from its herd or whatever.
It was too early to be
God.
Yeah, so she gives me this kitten, and I go, oh, I don't want it. But she's like batshit crazy, and fucking if Gravel's the other person in charge of this cat, it's not gonna make it out of the trailer, you know. So I took it. And then I walked out, and Gravel was finishing spitting up a little bit and back in the truck, and then he goes, hey, right, you know, I didn't know he was a poet till I watched that documentary, and they said he was a poet, so I don't know what he was saying, but it was, you know, it did come in like a rhythm. Like beat. Because I looked at him like I was trying to understand what he was saying, and then he went,
like jazz, man.
Yeah, he did like I did with my shined up teeth. He went, but he only had like one over here and one over there, and he went, and I was like, okay, I guess that's the close bit, and I took that cat. But then I found out, I read about Gravel. I watched that documentary, and they mentioned him, that name, and they said he's real smart. He was a you know, a writer, and I mentioned he was a poet and an author, and I was like, oh fuck, that's that dude. So I looked him up, and he had you know, anyway, he was a drunk, and his backstory not many people knew. But he burned up 2 of them structures in Darwin because he'd put a big log in the wood stove, you know, with half of it hanging out, and he'd burn. They had to drag him out of 2 houses he burnt to the ground. And then they didn't, you know, there's no AA meetings in Darwin. There's no meetings, you know, there's no meetings at all. So they fucking just they moved him into a water tower, or, you know, like a water storage unit. Yeah, so he was in there so he couldn't burn himself up. So then about 3 months after I met Gravel, is how I was introduced to him. Gravel, they went into Lone Pine, him and a niece and some other entity, probably Cindy, because I saw her a while later with an open sore, like a year later on her leg. But anyway, they fucked up and the truck rolled. Gravel died in the gravel, probably. He died on the scene. And so then this guy came into town to visit somebody, and he got invited to this funeral. So he was a spectator to the funeral, and he wrote about it, and it was pretty fucking interesting little read. But the Indians came into play. Remember the Indians? They hung out. One of the Eagles or Crows or whatever the fuck they were. One of the brothers was drinking buddies with Gravel. So the funeral happened. One of the kids came out and gave a nice but honest eulogy. You know, he was a piece of shit father. That kind of shit. Yeah. And then one of the Indians whooped up and had something to say, started some sort of a chant, and then somebody was real shit-faced, said, "Let's put the old bird in the ground or put him down," something like that. And then the guy who witnessed it said, "I could tell this wasn't going to go well, and I wanted to step in."
So you're talking to give that guy credit. His name is Jonathan Renouf, Renouf. And he was there with some kind of a geological or some kind of land survey study. So it was a bunch of scientists. And he's just been like Andy. He just tripped into town, and it came up. This whole thing kind of unrolled in front of him. And he has a good retelling of
right. You'd have to have an outsider report on it, because nobody there would even. They'd just get shithouse drunk and then hunker down in their things. They don't get on the internet and go Instagram. Oh shit. So when they they kind of a bunch of including the Indian brother and the guy who was shit most drunk at the thing, grabbed the casket, and then there was some fumbling, and they only got half of it in, and it dumped open. The guy who wrote the thing,
like the Shah of Iran when they were taking his body.
Yeah. So he dumped out, and eventually they righted their ship and filled in the hole, and then proceeded.
Did they put him back in, and did they put him back in, or did they just fill the hole in?
Yeah, and then now there were some they came out to Darwin as
Little
Christians.
Rascal's funeral parlor, man. Who's in charge of this thing?
Oh man, it's like they just fucking when it's like Deadwood. Which is the thing, the whole, and it's a fucking mess. I didn't know, when I met Gravel, I didn't know I was probably one of the last people to report on the words of Gravel, because none of the Darwin residents would. They just said, "Oh, he's a genius and he's a poet literate." I would love to find some. What's his last name? Is
poet literate.
Haley.
I would like to read his poems. I'm sure some of them deal with the wife not shutting up while he's trying to think and stuff. But man, you could be, the point of that documentary was there wasn't one, but it's like, these people, what are you fucking doing there, man? They just sit there and they get their fucking benefit checks and shit, and they don't talk to each other much. They all have firearms and are paranoid of each other.
You cruise down the streets and you don't see anyone, but there are a bunch of people looking at you.
And that's what they say too. They really go, whenever anyone's in town, we're well aware of it. They probably heard it on the walkie-talkies. And I didn't realize this. I watched on the documentary where Manson was holed up I thought it was closer to Ballarat, but it's actually real close to Panamint or to Darwin. And it recently got Charlie. Chuck.
Not Maryland, because he's in a little trouble right now. I think he might be wanting to hole up somewhere incognito.
Maryland had a ranch for wayward women to go straighten out their problems, and he doesn't.
I read Andy. I read one of the things from your Facebook post. he and two other drinking buddies. I don't think it was his daughter or something like that. Just the way it read was he was a drunk. That was they said it like 3 times in one paragraph, but mostly he was a drunk. And then they were drinking and they were going to go to. They ran out of booze, so they decided to drive to Lone Pine. And in driving to Lone Pine, something happened, and none of them wore seatbelts. They were clearly drunk. So I don't think it was a daughter or anything, but they described one, which should be like on one of Chad's like horrific death things, is one guy was immediately thrown from the vehicle that flipped and into a barbed wire fence, which is just so fucking crazy.
That's some Wile E. Coyote type shit.
Yeah.
Fucking anthill.
Final Destination.
Yeah, and Final Destination, like a cheese slicer going through you, but instead of a wire, barbed wire.
Brutal.
Like that could be worse.
And watching that documentary, it was in 2003, and they're all old and batshit crazy, so you know all of them are dead. None of those people exist anymore.
I'll put the link to the Darwin Funeral from that guy's WordPress, Jonathan's WordPress. I'll put that in the show notes because it is. I don't know if it'll be you guys would like it, and people who've been to the desert will understand it, but it will be just shocking to other people going, "What city is this?"
Yeah, you know,
I read it. It's really a good read.
Yeah, and watching that documentary, it's like, I think that would have felt a lot weirder watching that in 2003 or 2007. That you know, after this like last few years and shit, it doesn't seem all that odd that people would be living out there away from everything, fucking out of their minds and shit, and anti-government, thinking the world's going to end in a few days. They actually had 2013, I think, or 2012. Maybe they were Mayan, but there was a couple that moved out there and they were Christians when they moved out there, and now they're like pagan, fucking do little devil studies and shit.
Yeah.
And then there's also there was a transgender lady that was the kid, one of their kids, and he, you know, it was like that didn't even seem that unusual, but you know, 10 years ago it'd been like, oh, I understand why she had to escape there, and now it'd be like, why isn't she hitting meat in the bars in St. Louis? Nobody cares anymore.
I think kids used to get hobbies back in the day. Now they go for gender reassignment.
Oh, right.
Model kits. Have you tried that?
Yeah. Well, she had recordings of her voice. This is me after one treatment, and then it's like, hi, hey man, what's going on? This is 17 treatments. And it's like, you know, she's just out there in Darwin getting her fucking going in and getting her injection and coming back out. There's nothing to do. Even, I mean, you can take idle walks.
Wait, you can't do that in Darwin. There's no medical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yo, no. Yeah.
Reassignment capital of the fucking world is Darwin.
Probably Dr. There's no oversight.
It's just a side effect of Darwin meth. Turns out it wasn't. Yeah. She wasn't even trying to fucking transition.
The only person who has a job, and there's 2 people that have a job: the water guy, and the post office. So people can get their disability checks.
Well, and either they have to make their own meth in a place like that, or somebody has to bring it in at ridiculously high prices. I would imagine. I don't know how that would work, but those places have got to be just rampant with methamphetamine. I would imagine. They all
got money on the 1st and the 15th. So
and the history of that town. I mean, the history of that town is they had some fucking good times there, and then they ended, and then they waited on it. And 30, 40, 50 years later, they had real good times again, and then they went belly up again. And now it's just a lot. None of them have anything that resembles a sense of humor, because it's like, why bother out there? You know, there's no open mic, there's no no talent show there. Here's what I was thinking, though, is because after that first party, there was a lot of people at that first party just overstocked. I mean, we ran out of beer.
Party.
Yeah, the first Panama party.
2005, was it?
I think the first one was in
2003.
Because that's when I got that cat, Darwin. Yeah. And but I went. That was the first time I went to that town. And I think, well, no, it was the next year I gave him booze. So I had nothing to do with Grayville's death, but I did donate large quantities of alcohol to the Indians one year. And I didn't know they had problems with alcohol.
What? What?
Well,
I thought they were herbalists.
That's a hell of a way to find out, huh?
Yeah, none of the Indians. I mean, most of the people I met in Darwin in that same time. I mean, 2003, and then in the following years, none of them were in that. I think the people that were in that movie that represented about a third of the population, and the other third hunkered down and hid from the crew the whole time.
Oh yeah, I never just.
I wanted
just
to see the Indian.
Window.
Yeah, originally I thought I was hoping to see one of the Indians because there was two brothers that came. Well, I would go pick them up and bring them to the party, and then sometimes forget about them, like white men do. Good intentions. They scattered like so many good.
It's like an episode of F Troop.
Yeah.
Barry Storch takes a couple Indians out into the wilderness.
I did F troop them a little bit. I didn't mean to, but I bought them lunch a couple times and stuff. But I did that one time. I did leave them, and then they said they waited around. Somebody told me they waited around for several hours for a ride back home, and like, shit, should have stuck around. They started walking home, and it's like, if you're going to be that way about it, just walk then. I like
What's that? A 30-mile walk?
He probably as a pair of Indians, a pair of alcoholics, independent of their race, but as a pair of alcoholic brothers who were at a party and they were no longer being offered free booze, they probably just made the hard choice to walk 18 miles to get back to their supply. There's a back road that wasn't quite as far for them.
There is a mountain range between Darwin and everything.
I know that, but if you just went up the road from Panamint, just up that first hill, and then that first washout road, that's the back way to Darwin. So it's probably only like 15, 16 miles they had to walk. And that was the one time I think I drove him in. I don't know who was this driver. me drive drunk too, Kibusabi. Yeah, those guys were fun, but I knew that one of them had cancer, so I thought I would watch this thing and find out which one lived a little longer, but they're both dead now, so it don't matter. You got to be buried in the ground, probably in similar fashion as Gravel. Yeah, to Gravel, he was a poet and an alcoholic and a drunk and a fucking drunk. And
he was a poet and he forgot.
He stopped. I mean, he was such a poet that he didn't need to form words anymore. And everybody around in Darwin was still like, he's a poet. I don't know what he said later. It's because I don't understand poems. But,
it's primal.
Yeah, but he hung down in that. The one year a bunch of us went down there. Extreme Elvis was with us, Barry Coral, and we went down to the Indians trailer. This was like
Coral. Who's that?
Barry Coral. She was a folk singer from New York. And everybody was smitten with the Songbird for a minute. But she, so there was like Extreme Elvis, who's a talented musician, and
explain who Extreme Elvis is for the people who don't know Extreme Elvis.
Extreme Elvis was the first time I saw Extreme Elvis, I think, was at Doug's wedding to Renee at Tommy Rockers in Vegas, and Extreme Elvis was like a fat Elvis tribute act that also had a nod to Gigi Allen.
70s Elvis,
right? Wasn't that kind of a nod to Gigi Allen?
Absolutely.
He did a lot of, he had a band and he sang really great like Elvis. He also was he'd eventually kind of strip down out of most of his Elvis stuff would be, his whole thing would be open, and then his dick would be out, and then it was like, oh, whoops. But it wasn't a whoops. It wasn't an equipment failure or whatever. It was part of the act. So his dick, and it was kind of I'm not trying to talk down to a man, but his penis seemed to be more like a big giant clit or something. I don't know. Anyway.
It was weird.
Yeah, he would pee.
He had a weird one.
He'd pee in cup, and then his band would drink it. He'd do Tootsie Rolls.
He would. The girl singer would pee into a cup and he would drink it, and he would also drink his own urine. Not that it's weird, but he would drink someone else's.
That's pretty weird.
We have a history of people drinking other people's piss on this show. I think
yeah, I mean, once you open that up, it's it's every survivalist for himself. But like he put objects in his ass. Like if you had your cell phone out, and he would put.
That's what he's doing.
This was Doug's. This was Doug and Renee's wedding. So Renee's family. I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for it. And I'd never done ecstasy before. And that was a wrong time maybe to go, no, I don't know, man. This is, and I remember telling myself to calm down in the women's bathroom before Tommy had security come in and asked me to step out of there, or it wasn't security so much. Hey, just get out of the bathroom, man. You're in the wrong. Okay. But I was like,
in the wrong bathroom?
It was the women's restroom. And I was fully clothed. There was no Roethlisberger. I was just freaked out about the Elvis act.
Your first time doing ecstasy, you were watching Extreme Elvis put a cell phone up his ass at Doug and Renee's wedding.
Yeah, I felt frightened because I knew that drug made you want to get involved with that kind of
shit. maybe it happened, man. Thoughts create.
So I went to the women's
You just
bathroom.
walk up to him.
I was giving myself a pep talk in the mirror, and I didn't realize I was in the wrong restroom. But I was like, "Get it together, man! Look at you!" My eyes were all like spinning out, and shit, and I couldn't believe what I saw, man. I was like, it takes a couple times to see that act before you catch on. Oh, I get it.
You're slapping yourself in the face. Come on, snap out of it, kid. You're better than this.
So yeah, I had that, but there he. Oh my God, I forgot about that photo.
I'm going to trigger you, Andy.
Andy Lee Davis.
You need to go to the bathroom, Andy, and talk yourself down.
Yeah. His toilet's facing the wrong direction.
So we had Extreme Elvis in the desert. Walking around and pedaling around on like an old timey bicycle. But always completely naked. Sometimes with like a robe on, but never like but barely if it was on. Never tied. It was. Yeah.
He's not even.
And he was a sweetheart. He was great. He was fun.
He ended up in Venice apartment for years. That place in Venice where you saw the bums stabbing, the homeless stabbing, Andy.
Oh yeah. Oh, really? He lived there?
He ended up renting that place for years.
Wow. Huh. After Doug or before?
After.
Oh.
Doug rented it to him.
Mm-hmm. Shit. Yeah. I mean, I'd like the idea that he's still out there touring, but I know with COVID, a lot of his actors just wouldn't fly.
Luckily, he's probably more drinking your own piss.
Could you imagine a masked Extreme Elvis putting a phone in his ass? And having to dip it in hand cleaner and returning it.
I'm trying to imagine how weird his Zoom calls are now that he's had to go online.
We can go on together. Yeah, I was like, no. I mean, I don't get shocked easy, but when I watched that at Doug's wedding, I was like, and I had never, like I said, I'd never done ecstasy, and I was like, what? No, come on, man. I was like,
I believe. Now we were just there for the we did remember back a long time ago when we went to Vegas and took the show on the road. Before that, like he's back to a regular gaming restaurant, bands play there and Tommy Rocket plays there. But there was a while where he was a strip club, and he was trying to get his license, and we were there prior to him being the strip club. We were there with this act that was gonna, Extreme Elvis sounds great. There's a great tie into Vegas. Tommy was all cool, and then all of a sudden the guy starts peeing. They're all the whole fucking band's naked. He takes a tampon out of the girl singer and then dips it in his fucking tea bag, and then Tommy is going ballistic because he's doing everything he has to do to get this fucking strip club thing to keep his club afloat at the time. He's like, what the fuck? So all he can think to do, because it's is keep lowering the lights. he just kept going over and turning like a dimmer switch down, lower, lower, until like the band was like almost in complete darkness. And that was the only thing he could do because he didn't want to insult Doug at his wedding. At my wedding, me by turning.
Yeah, he seemed a little like he seemed a little stressed when he asked me to leave the women's restroom. Like, long night, huh, Tommy? Sorry, bro.
This is the last Stanhope wedding I ever do.
I say it every time I hear these stories. I'm so glad I met you guys when you were old. I would not stand for these shenanigans. I would go home immediately. What? I don't want to look at that. Fuck that.
I came back I was on a flight with Renee's brother and Matt Rice, and those guys were just wiped out, and I was wiped out. And I got back, and that's when I threatened that guy at the wave pool in that next 24 hours back from Vegas, and then Delaney had a play date, and I was like, he goes, "How was your trip to Vegas?" The mother, and I go, "Oh," and I went on about Extreme Elvis, and my daughter wasn't allowed over there ever again.
Oh my God! Yeah, so you got reintegrated into society before you were mentally prepared to be reintegrated into society. You told the story that you needed to keep to yourself.
Yeah, I went to right away. Went to the wave pool right after, and that was an incident. And then just I wasn't ready. That was a good trip. That's a good wedding.
And clearly you weren't ready because you're allergic to the sun. Why are you going to
Yeah.
I'm not no more. I overcome it.
Also, that's a solid excuse, and I like it. But you also pressed your dick up against the viewing glass in the jacuzzi at the plaza with none of that stuff happening beforehand.
That was in contact. Some other dude, you know. Yeah. People miss
one trial at a time, sir.
You go spring forward and you lose an hour. I do it in 5-minute increments, and I happen to lose that 5-minute increment in that year. Purge. It's like being pardoned. I got a 1 hour pardoned, and I take 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Let's drop that 20 from Sheboygan. I've never been there actually, but that sounds great.
You know, I was thinking about that, Chad, when like that whole scene at the hotel we were at, on like right on the other side of that glass where Andy pressed his junk up against the jacuzzi glass. There's like an area that is like where people can play. There's gaming tables, so there's probably video footage, CCTV style, of Andy's junk against glass.
Well, definitely somebody saw
in there.
Yeah,
somebody saw it, called security because we had to run from security.
Yeah, that's why I always change clothes.
Old,
Yeah, you're never too old to be indecent. That's true. Actually, you can, some fucking 90-year-old dude can still upset the better people. Just stand in the window of the nursing home. That's what I'd do if I had COVID. I'd just have a fucking get my issues with Andy sign to put just arrows down to my junk. Is that from the wedding album? I forgot that was that picture that's from. I think that's when I went into the restroom and said, I don't know if I can continue being friends with these people. It's like fucking probably the best picture of Tanya Lee's ever taken too, ever.
The growth on the back of her neck.
She's got it all cropped out as her profile picture.
Sexiest conjoined twin ever. My dick just grew into the back of her head as babies. That would
just give her some for Pete's.
Send that picture over to the Adult Swim Cartoon Network and say, I got a show idea.
I need a kid.
Little Big Elvis.
Little Big Elvis.
There's a picture. Well, it's another little person, but our man show midget. Me and Doug had an old walker toilet, a walker with a piss bucket in it, on the man show, and we lived in the office, and we could walk down the hall and urinate, but it was a lot of fun to just pee right there. Plus,
Yeah,
we
you
were
did
drinking
that?
a lot of beer. Yeah, yeah. When we kept the bucket in there, and eventually Rogan was like, "What the fuck is this?" and opens it up, and it's like a couple of weeks. I don't know how long it took us to fill a 5-gallon bucket of piss. Or maybe it's just a gallon, but it was a fairly good size. No, it was a 5-gallon bucket, I think, because me and Rogan carried it down to dump me and Stanhope's stale beer piss. And but we enjoyed that toilet. One time we had our man show midget Arturo on there, and he wanted to use our toilet, but he couldn't reach it. And then Doug got down on all fours, and Arturo stood on Doug's back and peed in our toilet. It was pretty. We try to get special guest people to come up and pee in it. We had Stutter and John urinate in it, and we tried to get Joey Falcone. At that time we had a mega horn or whatever, a bull. What do they call those?
Yeah.
Bullhorn. And it was like Joey Falcone, triple threat. He sings, he dances, he acts, but can he use the toilet upstairs? And he just kept walking like he didn't. You heard us. And then you definitely heard Stanhope when he was on it, Joey Falcone, but he didn't want to come up and grace us.
Was it one of the Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, they had some musical bullshit going on across. None of us. There was like a bunch of young hopefuls lined up, and neither of us felt like being around that kind of energy. So we slunked off to a bar till they left. I think it was a singing challenge, not American Idol, but something stupid like that. America's Next Great Person. How about that contest? America's Next Great Human. We don't give a shit about
America's first.
Yeah, America's first good person. Who's that? Is that Stuttering? Oh, no, is that Arturo? Wow.
It could be Stuttering, John.
Yeah. Well, you look at him up close like that. Yeah, I had a picture of Doug's mother with him. We had him dress up as the Incredible Hulk, but blue balls, and he was all in blue little clothes and smashing shit up. But the picture of him, Doug's mother is holding a vibrator with a rubber on it with her image on the vibrator and holding it like she's posing, and then Arturo's in his Hulk outfit. It's one of my favorites that I snapped during the back behind the scenes shit. I wish it was that, we could have had another season of it, but it was fun while it lasted. It might have sucked ass to come back again. But it did feel like we pulled the Band-Aid off and got rid of a piece of shit television show.
If you're actively burning the bridge that you're standing on, it usually doesn't last too long, I don't think.
Yeah.
Makes for good theater, though.
We couldn't risk the show continuing and another Adam Carolla being sprung out.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
I've never seen a single episode of Man Show. I didn't know that Stanhope and Rogan did a Man Show. None of this until the first time I heard Stanhope make mention of it after we had already been hanging out for a while. I don't know what that is. I only knew the one with Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla. Yeah. So yeah. I guess I didn't have cable during that time.
How I described it to people is, and it's not the Adam, like Adam and Jimmy, it was kind of sophomoric and boobs and beers, and then it got a little misogynistic and date rapey. It wasn't because of their personalities. It was just that was kind of the stuff that where they were, we were trying to get written funny, not date rape stuff, but just stuff that pushed the envelope. And what Adam and Jimmy kind of did was, exactly what dullards sitting in the studio audience would get up and hoot and holler over.
And what advertisers pay for.
Yeah, that's why they had to. Felt like they needed to reshoot all the openings is because the monologues weren't hand-fed stupid comedy that they could get up and hoot and holler to. So they had them reshoot all those and probably got a little, more of their audience after they'd run episodes. I think that's what happened. And then that's when Tanya Harding fight happened, was like during reshoots that they just chopped a season into 2 parts and called it 2 seasons.
Mhm.
Some shit like that. I don't know. All I know is I'll never make $600 for saying, that tastes like piss again.
Is that a world you could
Dare
live
to
in?
dream. It's
Yeah.
possible. You could
Yeah.
still do it.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, but fuck, that's a lot of work. Get in that position again.
Piss
Gotta
in
go
a bucket
back to the beginning,
or
I mean,
down
I
the
only-
hall.
Well, you don't start right off at $600 for getting to grunt something. You got to take a smaller amount to start with, and then you build it up, and pretty soon your talents are such that you're making $500-600.
I would like to think that Grayville back in the day was working the
Yeah.
circuit, getting way too drunk, getting fucked up at colleges, and they're all just
Yeah.
waiting for him to do one of his poems, and he falls out of a chair. But I don't know. I think I think he might have inflated his resume a little bit when he got to Darwin. Everybody across the board says, "Oh, he's real smart." Okay. Darwin
And,
smart.
since you're going out there on this, grunting for $600, just to go back to what we were talking about, the man show, would you be willing to do a whistle for 300?
Oh yeah.
Where do
I'd
we
make-
put you? I mean, because you're
I'd
going to
make
get a
any
lot of
That's
heat
what I'm
when your
talking about.
album drops.
I'll
When
make
your
a
special
I'll
goes-
make a whistling noise. I'll do a cameo where I try to whistle like the opening of Andy Griffith, and I'll say, fuck it, I can't whistle.
Wait, Andy,
My
don't
brother
go,
Larry
not for
whistled.
$300. You're not.
I could get my brother Larry to whistle, and I'd try to take the 300. I mean, he whistles
Farm
like a
it
bird.
out.
He literally whistles like a bird.
I was trying to get you to go. Boy, that's hot out here. I was trying to get you to do the whistle for $300, and now you
But
got
I-
it farmed out to your brother, or
Well,
you're
but I
going to
don't-
do.
But I don't see this as a realistic offer. And plus, I already owe you guys so much money. I couldn't take any $300 for whistling.
All of a sudden, Andy's going to whistle
Not
the
gonna
whole
be from
fishing hole
us.
song for $300.
I'll be
He's
yeah.
paying Larry 20.
Oh, but here's the thing: is Larry used to whistle for signals too. So like when Larry would do Crimeman with his partners,
Oh,
he had a pretty
yeah.
good. You'd hear, it'd be 1 or 2 in the morning, and you'd hear a blue jay. Like, what the fuck is a blue jay doing out here? And then the little Kenny's running with his big shoe out the back door.
Yeah. Is that the first Robin of spring? No,
Yeah.
no, Larry's stealing a
dude,
hi-fi.
it's 3:30 in the morning. There's no birds up there.
I wish I could have run with him back when he was, in his heyday. It would have been fucking wild.
Yeah.
But, I got these lower teeth. I think you'd have had to be all in to be with Larry. Otherwise, you might have gotten
Definitely.
irritated. And they did, He was accused of stealing.
You can't have any rats
Yeah.
in the crew.
That's what Larry, well, I don't know. I never did an investigation, but that whole Thanksgiving situation, where Larry was accused of stealing from this other guy. But I tend to think that they both robbed the place together and Larry was just holding some of it. Anyway, it was,
He didn't give him his cut.
he was
Right.
killed. I mean, the guy accused him of having this shit, and my mom was all wigged out and decided to help him search, and we found needles, shit like that. And my mom goes, "I don't think he's using those for diabetes." Like, yeah, I don't either, Mom.
Well, yeah,
Don't worry.
Mom,
But
because he
that was her
doesn't have
thing.
diabetes.
Like, my mom would just like bend every kind of logic to be on Larry's side on it, and then I'm the hothead. I was like, that was one. I think I had a nervous breakdown this time, but and then we went downstairs, and then in the basement there was a bunch of Harley Davidson stuff that I think this was Detonator. I think it was Detonator accused Larry of stealing from him, and it was questionable, but they worked it out. Detonator took that stuff, and Larry never complained.
I love that. I love that Larry was so mistrusted in the family that somebody could show up on Thanksgiving. A dude named Detonator shows up on Thanksgiving and is like, "Larry has all my shit," and your mom's like, "Larry, march us to the basement right now so we can get Detonator's shit."
I wish I would have watched. If I could go back to that scene, I would just key in on my dad's face because he was in his wheelchair sitting there, and he said, and then here we go. And it wasn't long after that Shane and Grandma took sick from something they ate, so it was just as well that Detonator come in there. There was food poisoning, and that was also the first Thanksgiving. I wasn't married, but I brought my future wife to that Thanksgiving. So,
wow.
I didn't do no bait and switch on my end. That's for sure.
Yeah. Seems like she had a chance right then, She could have walked.
I think I love
must have been a real charmer. Yeah.
I think Detonator's my favorite new Andy nickname.
Detonator.
I don't know if I brought him up before, but he was he ran with Larry, and then I think he got his name for blowing shit up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
Either that or he has
his last
missing.
These guys didn't nickname each other ironic things.
They didn't know how to spell detention. He got detention a lot. So
Incarcerated.
Detonator.
Incarcerator.
Crippled Kenny was the guy who just had a extra, like he was shorter on one side, so he wore a corrective shoe. It's like, to hear, crippled Kenny, and that Larry crashed a car and blamed it on crippled Kenny wanted to drive. And it's like they were on a burglary run. And the car, yeah, but that,
because he had a lead foot.
But I know, right? I love to think about that. That's what happened. They had stolen merch in the back, and Kenny's like, "Come on, let me drive." And Larry's like, "I don't know, Kenny, I better drive." "Come on, man!" And then he gets in there.
I can't help it. My foot just keeps going down on the gas. I can't help it. There's nothing I can do. It just keeps going faster and faster. I can't. It's too heavy.
Man, don't ride with Kenny. Fuck that. Let's find another ride. Don't.
I think I was
crazy.
I think I was a college age wise ass when I met him. Is that after I'd heard that story because the car was all fucked up, and then I heard that story, and then I met Kenny. Larry didn't introduce me. I was like, you must be Kenny. I saw the big fucking shoe. He did have a big fucking kiss. Like he was Kiss on one side and non-Kiss on the
other. He was rock and roll at night and partying on every day.
Yeah, and he didn't worry about matching either.
I know that joke is in there somewhere.
Yeah,
he'll get it.
Poor
did everybody have a friend that had a big shoe? Because I had a friend that had a big shoe too, but his because he got we didn't call him Chris because he wore a big shoe because he got hit by a car 3 different times. So we called him Speed Bump.
Speed Bump? That's a good one. Wow.
Yeah, well, we were in high school. We were real original.
Was he suicidal at all, or just clumsy?
No, I think he was just unlucky, maybe.
Yeah. He just refused to look both ways.
Speaking of unlucky, I don't know if you guys have even seen this. I just saw it. It was a lightning strike I think in England. There's four people that are under a tree, and then a lightning strike hits it, and it's all on film.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty. You'll see it. Anytime I see something, it's everybody. It's like, that'll, because that's it. It's striking footage. Hey ho, and fascinating horrors is probably right now getting details together.
What happened to them?
They all fall. One of them dies. But they fall like at different times. Like 2 of them go down right away, and I didn't even see the third one go down. So it must be 3 fell at once, and then one. It's like, and it was funny. And then I read about it, and then one of them died. So I was like, well, I still had that laugh. I can't give it back.
Yeah,
you
said last week. You said last week you loved commitment to the bit. So
yeah, it was. It's unfortunate, but it's a funny way to go. Like dominoes. But You know, I wish they all could have lived because they all would have had a great story. Now 3 of them have a really good, great story. 3 of them have an epic story.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it on YouTube, so
Yeah, it'll be about in a
That'll be
bit.
a social media.
I always find some fucking sickos ahead of the curve with that shit, and I appreciate it. You know, I don't know.
One time I woke up super like at 3 a.m, just fucking one of those times where you just wake up and you're awake, so you don't even attempt to try to not be awake anymore. And I got up and I was fucking around and I was looking online, and you guys will probably remember this story, but this dude was live streaming. He used to work at a news company, and he was mad at him. Fucking came back and shot the news lady while she was interviewing a lady, and then shot the cameraman as well.
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah,
got
yeah.
to see
I remember
all that footage got taken down right away, but I happened to be up and like caught it live, like watched it, like, holy, what the fuck did I just see? And I had to wait hours until the news was fucking processing what had happened, but I somehow stumbled onto that thing right away. Well,
lucky.
it was still,
You know, I mean,
it was
like finding that shit when it's live, or you know, like sometimes you watch a police chase and you hope for, you know, oh man, good. It's exciting watching something like that, especially unexpected. Speaking of unexpected, there was a great video. Well, it was a basketball game in Oklahoma. It was sad, but it was an announcer during the national anthem. He's like, "Oh, and the girls for Norman, Oklahoma, undefeated girls basketball team, and like the semifinals, they take a knee, and the national anthem's playing, and the announcer is continuing to talk." And he thinks the mic is cut. So he's just babbling about, oh, what are these girls doing? Oh, they're taking a knee. And then his partner doesn't really say much, right? Did you hear it, Brett? You heard it. His partner.
I heard it.
It's a hot mic situation where they don't know that their mics are on, not like full volume, but their mics are on enough that you can hear over the atmospheric
red glare and bomb thirsty. And then he dropped the ultimate bomb. He dropped the N-bomb, N-bomb, about a girls basketball team taking a knee at the, you know, and he goes, and I hope they lose. I hope they lose a couple times. And I don't know at what point he found out, but it was going over the Oklahoma network live for, and this guy was like the production company that was running the show, the guy who was announcing. But it was, and what a piece of shit.
It was 53 seconds in on the clip. At 53 seconds, he says that, and then almost immediately you hear someone diving to cover the mic to like stop him from talking with no words. Not like you're shut up. It was just cover the mic.
Yeah. And then
Brett, can't go a minute, but doing a high school girls basketball game without saying the N-word, maybe broadcasting isn't for you. I think maybe something else.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, you know, BLM and all that stuff. You know, it's like right there in one song. You know, they're playing the national anthem, and then there's a guy who's supposed to be their impartial broadcaster of girls high school basketball championship semis. No, and then he's these. And then what's the Brett? What's the excuse he used? One of them.
He blamed it on his diabetes. He said that he had low blood sugar.
Tough guy, big tough guy. Gonna start talking about girls kneeling in issue in our society. Yeah, big tough guy.
He did the you know, the greatest hits. He did that. That's not who I am. That's not who I. You know, anyone who knows me knows that's not me. I'm a youth minister. You know, like I was like a Coach Girls. You know, I took stats for community college, and I inflated the stat numbers for some of my friends.
Let me rephrase my joke from a minute ago. If you can't go a minute on a high school girls broadcast without saying the N-word, then you are in fact a racist person. That is who you are, exactly who you are. And people who know you will know that that's exactly who you are. And they probably weren't surprised by it at all. Probably surprised it had gone this long before you finally got caught saying
I love that his excuse though is that I only said that because I needed a cookie.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
it's fucking absolute bullshit.
And
Yeah.
racism and stupid is, I mean, hand in hand. But you don't work in front of a microphone for like
That's what I'm
that, and not assume like. You
Yeah.
have thoughts when you're jerking off in front of your phone. You have thoughts like, man, I hope this is not fucking the camera that's on or
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope
it's
hope
not
Father
even
O'Lattery
like
got
if
my
there's a
message.
microphone, you assume that motherfucker is hot all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that guy just did the racist version of checking the camera after he's already jerking off and realizing he is indeed broadcasting live to everyone in the world. Like,
So he must have.
"Oh,
He
no!"
must have. It would be interesting to hear his whole game call because he obviously he knew it was a hot mic and the potential.
He went
for
on
it
for at least a quarter. He had to have until
Yeah,
they finally said, "You got to get out of here."
Oh man, yeah, you better get out of here. They're fucking the BLM. Who's coming? It's Antifa. They're getting Antifa together. They're coming here.
Fucking lynch him. In the
And by the
street.
way, I mean, obviously, it's completely obviously bullshit to blame it on diabetes. But even to say that, like, if that is the case, and he's type 1 diabetic, so if that is the case, then that means that if you're like, if that is a situation where your blood sugar is low and you are delirious, then you need to rectify that. So there would be, you know, indications that he had a glass of orange juice or something right away so that he could come back to reality.
Well,
when he just went on with broadcasting, he didn't do anything. He didn't raise his blood sugar. He didn't address his diabetic problem.
Yeah, it's like you know, I mean,
Amongst other.
if you get
Here's
drunk
the thing that
and say a lot of racist shit, and you don't normally say it, that is who you are. You know, it comes
Right.
out because you're really drunk. You don't
It's
invent
not
a new
diabetes
persona.
is not Tourette's.
Yeah, you get a little
here's
shaky.
what I see that happen. What you're talking about, Erickson. I was thinking about this the other day, and what my whole is that at one time in the court of law is where this stuff used to be reserved for. Like if you we're gonna fabricate this defense, and it's all a known thing. Like we're just gonna make this up. All we have to do is create reasonable doubt in the mind of the juror, and you're gonna be free. So we're gonna create this reasonable defense that happens. But now we're doing it just right out in public where everybody's like, no, you're obviously that's fucking dumb. And it's like, nope.
Yeah.
What happened?
Rest my case.
It annoyed me when I read about that article early on, and it annoyed me about it that they never mentioned the outcome of the game. I was like, wait, who won the game? The girls who got slighted, or the other girls? And I had to that took me forever to find that, but they won the championship. They were an undefeated girls basketball team, and that's even
great.
That's even more fucking, you know, you have to be that good, and that guy's still fucking disrespectful like that. What a piece of shit.
Absolutely. And how about this for the stupidity of his entire argument, by the way? The other team didn't take a knee during the national anthem. That other team also had black girls on it. But he chose to say effing N-words like, this is typical of their kind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when it's that's not at all even the situation. Like he's not applying that. That's not the separate thing. It's not white kids are standing and black kids are kneeling here.
I think he had
a
an
mix
attitude
of everybody anyway.
Because he didn't
But
know
it just shows the stupidity of it. Shows the lack of logical reasoning that is happening in the brain of a person who is saying that. It's fucking retarded.
Wasn't he? He was like, "Are they in green?" And he knew it was the the championship. He goes, "Yeah, is that them in the green?" You know. And then he went off on them, but he was like, you know, he'd already
he objected to them. No one on the team that was kneeling was saluting, or he said something. It was pretty garbled. Sounds like he says, none of them even saluting, and then he went into his famous remark.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to change the subject, but in the picture that's behind Shaylee, is there a real face underneath that trophy, or is it a weird
Yeah.
thing? It looks like somebody.
No,
It looks like they're hoisting up
it's just
a trophy with a severed head attached
Well,
to
it's
it.
Oklahoma, so
underneath
they
it.
probably have a Ku Klux Klan head hanging under the trophy they give out.
yeah. Or it's a
Yeah.
I'm
it's
full
the
of
Cherokee head that the Oklahoma Sooner wagon rolled over.
I
No,
like.
that's just someone in the group. It's just small.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean. You know,
Yeah.
I guess I
Yeah.
haven't had the internet turned on me or
Well-
whatever, but I love how that swift the justice is in those situations. Like that fucking dude said that shit.
Yes.
People called in, complained. He got fucking pulled out of the thing there, and now everybody knows he's a fucking
Yeah.
scumbag. You know, some of them are
Stuff
probably like
like
more
that,
power to you,
fuck,
dude.
that's
We're with
fair.
you.
Yeah.
You know,
That's not right. That's cancel culture working properly.
Yeah.
You have to accept the consequences of the things you say into a microphone or things you say out into the world in front of you. The people
At the
around
very
you get
least,
they get to respond to what you're saying.
It's not even cancel culture. I mean, it's just marketability is really all it is. Look, sir, we can no longer fucking have you associated with this because you're not marketable because you're a fucking ignorant, racist ass. Sorry about
Yeah,
that. Bye. You get to
when
go and
Papa
we'll get
John,
That's really
when
what-
Papa John's just looked like a guy whose face has been stretched out way too many times, a douchebag for fucking pizza. When we finally got to know he was it's like he still worked for that. I mean, that's how fucking gross that company is. That face still worked for him because he was the owner of it, and it still until he said some shit, and now he's working on not using the N-word at all. He's like, going to what therapy. Therapy, and then they like he's doing good, and then they show.
The good thing is that the next person they hire will know how to hide his racism much better than the previous person.
Yeah, the only time I want to hear that word is when Samuel Jackson's saying it. He's great. I was thinking of the Tarantino movie where he's he's against the. Like it's I guess that just works for some people. It's like fucking I don't know. I found him creepy, and then he's like a guy like a creepy CEO. I don't mind, but one who's got to be in front of the camera, and then he's like hanging with sports stars, and it's like, God damn, do you not even get what we're looking at, dude? We're looking at a burn victim with eyebrows that you did it to yourself, though.
Listen, I didn't trust that guy when it said that he sold his Camaro to start a pizza business. Who does
that?
Sold his Camaro because he probably got a Dewey, and he couldn't go anywhere.
He's doing tours of the house. Did you guys watch any of those just to see what a douchebag he was?
Oh, yeah, the huge house, yeah.
But he was doing YouTube clips. Probably TikTok or something someone told him to do, but he was doing these things that ended up on YouTube of him walking around like showing the house that pizza built type of thing. And like the fucking comments are awesome. People just fucking ripping him about it. Like he's wearing these jeans with like iron marks down the middle of them, like he has a maid iron his jeans. It's fucking so.
He should have to have Jared, Subway Jared, live with him, sure.
He's got his pizzas in a humidor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Erickson, did you say humidor pizzas?
Yeah, he's got his pizza slices all separated.
Yeah.
He takes you in for a nice pepperoni. Hey, you want to come in? Check it out.
1979 was a good year. You know why?
It was a good one.
Yeah. He's like pizza Wonka guy, lonely fucking dude in a giant house that pizza built. Nobody gives a fuck, and everybody hates him. His company asked him to get
Pizza Wonka. You like that? Is that beanbag comfortable? Take a bite. That's a boneless wing.
Don't fall into the fountain of marinara. The toilet's flush with pizza.
You got your buffalo sauce fingers all over the outside. Now I've got to have the whole thing disinfected.
It's all gotta be scrubbed.
All gotta be scrubbed.
Maybe you should do a cooking
I
show.
said good day.
That's a good
The
day.
jalapeno poppers.
And then you,
Jalapeno
you're in, yeah,
poppers.
you're the everlasting popper. You return it to him. That's a movie that could be made, honestly.
God, it's going through my head right now.
Yeah.
This
Just
Mr. Slugworth.
fucking explode
Yeah.
in my head.
Just change
Yeah,
the whole thing to pizzas.
We'll
Be,
pitch the
would you be the Little Caesars pizza guy?
We'll pitch the little Elvis, big Elvis to the Swim Network, and we'll use that money to do a reality show. We'll do like
Well,
Windy
maybe
City
we
Heat, but
could.
maybe we get Papa John and he's our dupe, our Reuben, and we do a Windy City Heat scenario where he thinks he's really making the Willy Wonka movie, but we're just making a mockery out of him and ruining his
We're
house.
just fucking with him. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Okay, we're gonna bring the 30 pizza loops in.
Funny.
We get a black kid to play Charlie so that we get it to be a feel good movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't want one of those in my house. Oh no! Here comes the pizza loops. Racist piece of shit. He's a racist piece of shit. I can't do it.
All the Oompa Loompas are all in blackface, just slaves fucking toiling away.
Oh no.
Hey Arturo, get the little car together. I got a gig. I was wondering,
Oh,
Like Arturo drives a tiny clown car.
I don't know.
He
I
probably
always,
drives a regular car.
I always wanted to see where Arturo went when he left, but
Into a mouse hole into the floorboards.
I know he wouldn't do the dirty midget stuff that
it's a little pimped out smart car.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that one time about the other midget we had on the Man Show one time, because we had a skit that involved a couple of things, but it was like a guy's not supposed to get hard. It was a Make Me Hard game show soup. But anyway, there was a part where a midget ate a banana seductively, and I expected to see Arturo, and Arturo was there, but he wasn't the one. It was another midget, and he would do that, but he wore a wig because he didn't want to be recognized, so he had like a big Fabio wig. He's a little black-haired fella, so it was pretty funny that that he had.
Why didn't Arturo do it?
He didn't. He's like fucking. He had seniority, and he wasn't going to suck a banana like he's
beneath him.
Yeah,
It seems kind of fucked up that the other guy got to wear a wig and make it seem like it was Arturo anyway. So
Arturo was. Yeah, I bet Arturo was.
He got paid. He got paid, and fucking Arturo still took the hit socially.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it had to be.
Damn, Arturo! Can't believe you sucked that banana like a bitch on that show.
Yeah.
What?
And you wore a wig while you did it.
Yeah. I remember it happening.
You banana sucking bitch.
I was sitting in the well, they did it during we did a rehearsal of it, and I watched it with Arturo and that's how I asked him about it. He goes, "I'm not doing that." I go, okay, and but then when we went to all of the crew or whatever goes to dinner break when we're in the taping area or whatever, so we went to this place and had dinner, and then me and Doug had that Aspen or whatever, that Dodge, that convertible Doug had. And we drove
the pig.
Yeah, the pig, and we drove the midgets around. Arturo, I think, was in front with Doug, and I was in the back with the other guy, and we just did laps around the studio, and it was one of the funner times. But that was the wig guy. You wouldn't recognize him from the show because like fucking fat, I was like, well, that, if you saw him, you'd go, well, fucking, God takes something away from you, but he blesses you in other areas. He had the fat of a fucking lion, but it was, he got it out of wardrobe, or he brought it, But there were, I don't blame him. Arturo, I mean, You dress yourself up as blue balls and smash shit, but you don't want to eat a banana for $600.
Yeah. Well, the line is drawn somewhere. It's just interesting to find out where it is for people because it seems kind of random, you know?
All that one dude had to do was put on a wig, but Arturo had to be slathered up in blue body paint.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think the other guy just figured. I bet Arturo probably did other shit with wigs on after that, because I don't think he knew that was
literally being painted up blue to portray a testicle. But yeah, you won't eat a banana. You won't suck on a banana. I'm not a joke here, all right? I'm an actor.
I did the
I serve a member of the Screen Actors Guild.
On some of that, I was the test guy for that, stand-in for, because it was an audience person, so I got the thing, and it's like a dick box, basically, you know.
What?
But it was a thing that was like, if you get hard, it was supposed to make a beep. That was the skit. So like there was a lady that pulled her dick out. There was several different things, and I was the stand-in for that. So I got Vanity. Vanity
the lady.
Vanity was the stand-in.
Damn it, that's the joke. I was doing.
That was
We were all fighting each other. Forget it. That one.
Yeah. So Vanity, and she was a hot a woman, but she also carried a pretty sizable penis, which I didn't really know about till I saw some of her films. And
you finally
anyway, but she pulled out her breast on the show, and then I guess she did pull out her dick too. But anyway, during the rehearsals, I had the dick thing on, and I knew it wasn't legit, you know, so I maneuvered it. So I was like, I'd get through everything, and then when the midget was on there, I was like, he was just walking up to me, and I'd make it beep. So I had a lot of fun with the box and Vanity. Hey ho.
Was that how you hit on Vanity? Just kept walking by her and beeping your box.
No, but I do have a picture. He was or she, whatever, was tall. And I have a picture standing, and I was in a man show lab jacket because I was, I don't know, I was wearing that, but but she's fucking fetching, futuristic Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't get tangled. I'm glad I didn't get tangled.
That's the only hot girl I could find that I couldn't tell.
That's one of the juggies. That's Vanessa.
All right.
Juggy
Well,
Vanessa. She was old school. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah,
that'll
she was.
Do, won't it, Chad?
Yeah, no, that was fine. I just,
yeah.
Chad doesn't want to think that girl has a dick.
No, listen, here's the thing about that, Erickson, that I've realized in my older age. I'm fucking a married guy. I'm just looking at fucking pictures jerking off anyway. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think I found her.
Yeah,
if I Vanity,
yeah, she but I was smitten with her, but I saw these videos, like, man, I'm glad I didn't mess around there. She was pounding a chick. Oh man.
Oh yeah, she would have taken you with no problem.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I would have been
broken you.
I would have been like Mr. Garrett scissoring. Oh, scissor me. She would have taken that wheelbarrow down the hill.
This her?
Yeah. Huh?
Wow.
Yeah, she was. I think Mike Tyson and her had a run-in. Like Mike Tyson was making out with her and found out. I think I remembered hearing something like that. I'm not.
They crossed swords in the bathroom.
Sure, but I was smitten with her.
Man,
And then
she's got balls.
Yeah, when I saw what she did to that chick, I was like, okay, well,
that was a cheap one, Chad.
You got to know what you're doing when you cross those lines, It's like, oh, I'm just want to see what this is all about, and then the next thing you know, you're like, okay, all right, okay.
I love thinking of the fact that
Blue Dolphin.
Mike Tyson finds out in like a minute and a half that it's a guy, because Mike Tyson can go for the fucking junk immediately.
You're right.
velvet rope. Andy's got to like work it, like massage it for a while. He spends about 45 minutes to find out the same thing Mike Tyson can find
Oh,
out.
I knew when she got hired. I knew why he was or she was there. Why that that was her skit. If she didn't have a dick, that would have ruined the. I remember the response though. It was I was watching the audience, not her. But when she had her breast out, then the audience was like, close to heaven. Like Leonard Skinner showed up, and they were like, and we'd have retards. I don't know that that's a proper term for them anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it isn't. I was about to compliment you guys on your forward thinking of showing, the silliness of people's expectations on what gender is and what parts people should have and how it's
we can go back and edit that, but
you went with the hard R.
We had some guys in big sweatpants that had the downs and then just I mean, like I wouldn't have felt comfortable performing comedy at all in front of the man show crowd.
Andy, hold on a second. For the people that don't know, when you go to a taping of a show, number one, it could be defined as being a hostage situation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they take you from like Universal Studios and you board a bus and you can't get back to where your car is until they're done with you. That depends on the production. Other times you line up out front of the studio, and with the man show, they waited in line for hours to get in. Yeah. And there's the people in the front are the people who don't work, who don't have a regular income. Those are the people that have all day to kill to do that.
I used to manage a group home at one point, and that's what I pictured. People bringing a group home. Let's go do this.
Sometimes I would look at them and wonder what bus dropped them off. Like, where the fuck did these groups drop in from?
The shortest one.
And they were hostages, and they would get 2 drinks, but they would string them out. You get 1 beer, and then they would all just sit there with their plastic cup for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. Rogan's yelling at a producer. They're sitting there. It fucking goes on and on sometimes. And but when Vanity showed her lovely breast to that audience, they were so happy. Empty cups and all, and then when the dick flopped out, it was like it's like he just kicked him in the balls. It was one of the favorite. It was my favorite time in television. That moment, because I knew.
Now that's a real gender reveal party right there.
Yeah. And the only thing that got blown up was people's egos and expectations.
I can't wait till that becomes a legal precedent.
That's how those should go.
That's where they're like, I find out she had a penis until, that was a gender reveal, Your Honor. I was just, all right.
Dad brings a hooker to the party.
Gender reveal.
Dad brings a hooker to the party. You pull down her pants, and then everybody discusses it while Dad pays her and gets his dick sucked.
Pull down her pants. Gets his dick sucked, and a cannon of blue confetti paper shoots out into the crowd.
Worst gender reveal party ever.
Everybody have some confetti. Oh.
Gender reveal is the new fascinating horror video, by the way, that just came up.
That's just an ass plug. It's not yet. Oh. It's a girl.
And he's disappointed. Oh, you don't have a dick?
What did we're talking about that diabetic thing? I just saw Hugh Grant had a new. He was bummed about working on a shitty movie, so he picked up the transvestite at the time, tranny hooker they called him.
Yeah, this is 30 years
but
ago.
It was just like I just saw this on my Yahoo scroll that Hugh Grant was now blaming cheating on his wife with the prostitute on a bad movie. Fucking movie sucks. I need some
Divine.
Divine. Now
Jeez,
Yeah.
what was that? Oh, he was cheating on Elizabeth Hurley. I got to look back on this.
Yeah,
Andy, 'cause
yeah.
it was
Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth
God damn.
Hurley with the
She was
prostitute.
so hot.
Marie Thompson. 95, Andy. You just
Yeah.
got something that just churned up from the algorithm from 95.
Huh?
What are you looking at?
Yeah, you know what Rod Stewart
No, they're
had?
dragging it all up now.
Rod
Yeah.
Stewart had a
They're
whole
gonna cancel him for it. They did just do a thing where they were like, David Letterman made me feel uncomfortable in 2003, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, fucking,
Yeah.
all right, whatever.
I mean, we don't have to
Motherfucker already
cancel.
Somehow you
retired.
survived.
Isn't he
Letterman
already
moved-
canceled? That dude's already like
Yeah,
lives on a fucking
yeah,
farm with a
yeah.
Santa Claus beard. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
that's
he's
not
got a
news.
CC top here. He
Yeah.
lives in the mountains of Montana. He's probably like, you want to cancel me? Go ahead.
So it was because
That
of
was a pretty good Letterman impression, Andy.
It was a Joe Piscopo doing Joe Piscopo doing David Letterman. My oh my, we're having some fun now. Remember Piscopo's? I used to tape those Saturday Night Lives to hear Eddie Murphy, and then I'd still have Joe Piscopo on the tape.
Let
so I'd
some
still-
Piscopo leaked in.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah,
wait
he
a
was-
minute.
he
You
was
did
prime
work
time.
on some material?
I would just listen to it. I didn't know, I wasn't trying. I just liked like the comedy, I guess.
Like just as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, but I never went out and did Eddie Murphy, or came out of the gate trying to mimic him or anything. But yeah, that was one of my times I got paid by the gentleman in California that raped me, and he got me at the time. Again, we're going to be insensitive. A ghetto blaster. Now that neighborhood's gentrified, and you'll just upset white people if you carry around your music box on your thing. But I had that, and then I would tape. I'd I guess I'd tape by the TV. I'd just turn the TV on and then tape it and then listen to the audio.
Yeah. Like doing like
man.
recording songs off the radio.
Yeah. Yep. With my
The
ghetto
movie that, like,
blaster.
The Hugh Grant movie that we're talking about that made him so upset that he had to go get a hooker was 9 Months with Julianne Moore.
Yeah, that sucked. But he got to work with Julianne
That
Moore.
defense
So.
holds up.
But he did a movie called 9 Months and didn't have a kid. Why
Yeah.
is he upset?
Yeah, it's like revisionist bullshit. He's probably like sat down for too long of an interview, started babbling about that one. Like Woody Allen's gonna hear all them questions again. He looks a lot
Woody
different.
Allen's gonna die. He's gonna give up.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
finally exposed.
I think he
all
only
the
needs
way.
one more movie to make 50 movies, a career,
Yeah.
and he can do that in another country and then just be done with it. Because a lot of people don't want to work with him because he, fingered his daughter.
Hold on a second. A lot of people do want to work with him. That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
but-
That
Alec
makes
Baldwin.
Adam's
Alec
point
Baldwin.
of like people who do these kind of things, they don't do it once. Cuomo. People don't do it once; they do it multiple times. And Woody is with the same person that he's been with the whole time, and that's Doug.
Never been able to shed a beard.
I'm not. Well, Doug says here, I'm not making I'm not taking one side or the other. I'm just saying, don't guys who do like pedophilia, don't they do it repeatedly? Is that a thing? And also, a lot of people still work with him. Maybe there's something that people know in the anti Me Too, where people talk about.
What would have got Woody Allen Me Too years ago is if other writers could write good female roles. It would have been, get this fucking scumbag out of here. If a lot of there were a lot of directors writing great roles for women and good dialogue and stuff, they would have kicked him to the curb. But he was basically the only one writing really great roles for women for years.
Well,
Those two love birds.
Mm-hmm.
I love his commitment to the bit. I will say that for him.
He stayed in it.
I think he got caught, and then he jumped on the first thing that would save him, and that was that he was in love with this girl.
Yeah.
He took a couple Laker games, and she looked miserable.
Is that
His
you saying he
argument
knew he
is-
was under the microscope? Is why he didn't repeat? That's a good rebuttal
That's
to
the-
that
That's
theory.
the commitment to the bit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe he, has a pizza parlor, the basement. Every once in a while, a kid goes
I was
missing, and
with
Woody
you
drinks their
until
blood.
Pizza parlor. Unless it's Papa John's.
Or 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 like the racists of today, he learned to be more secretive and quiet about his activity.
Well, and he also, did you look at, a lot of those kids were adopted, but maybe he just wasn't attracted to most of them. They were an
Hey,
eclectic
He
mix.
doesn't. He doesn't.
I haven't seen the show, by the way, so I don't know what the fuck I'm...
Even if you, I haven't either, but I know the story pretty well. So, but here's the thing: even if you grant Woody Allen his version of events, with Sun-Yi Previn is that she was an adult when they started their relationship, but Mia Farrow found out that they were fucking when she found Polaroids of Sun-Yi in Woody's possession. So she found out
Polaroids. No, I'm just kidding.
and this is so she finds pictures of her like 18 or 19-year-old daughter in her husband's wallet, and that's as creepy and scummy. And this is the but what I'm saying is this is the part that he doesn't contest, So like whether you think it all means he didn't repeat offend, so whatever he did with Dylan, maybe that's not true, blah 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 blah. His version of events with Sun-Yi is this. And he was carrying around Polaroids of her as a naked 18-year-old girl, and it's his wife's fucking adopted daughter. So if that's what you're saying makes you a good guy, then that's a tough sell.
Well,
Yeah.
let me go back to the Polaroids. I know you can shake a Polaroid. You can't bend one. You can't put one in your fucking wallet. So that to me is
look, the wallet thing. I said that. What I'm saying is that is how
that door, counselor. You brought that evidence in.
Shaley, what you brought up and what you described earlier is exactly why I take every fucking one of these things with such a grain of salt. To be like, you know what, I wasn't there. It's being bent to whatever fucking bent it's supposed to be to sell me whatever shit it is.
Oh, you know what I like
Any
about
opinion I have is false and
where
made
Woody
up.
Had it,
and I don't really stand by it.
Woody donated all his papers to someplace, and they were reading. And I was thinking how horrifying it would be if my notebooks were all like just words from my notebook: fuck face, cunt, death. It's just fucking redundancy. But that was an interesting part where they were his words about she's a 16-year-old girl with big luscious boobs and wonderful. Like he's just like fucking obsessed with that age range. But it's all fantasy.
Maybe we should all watch it. I don't know.
Maybe. Or yeah. Andy, I what you like. I have a bunch of like notebooks that I've written in over like all kinds of years, and that's Jenny's only standing order to do with any of my stuff is to just immediately burn all of those fucking notebooks. I don't want anything that I've ever written down to ever. Nobody should ever read that. But
bury it with gravel.
Also, I recognized I was just talking the other day about like why I isolate myself in, and because it's just the self-awareness that I have of who I am. And if I'm out in having in public and I have a confrontation where I feel like I'm in the right, but I just lose my shit, I'll say racist stuff. Like I'll call people N-word, but not because I'm racist, but because I want to inflict harm upon you, fucking, like I want to say the most hurtful thing I could say to do things. And then only later would I reflect on that and be like, whoa, you shouldn't have said that at all. But in the heat of a fucking moment where I'm lose my shit and I'm angry, I'll say horrible things and I'll do more horrible things than that. Your eyebrows raised at that. I'll do more horrible fucking things physically than that word ever is. But what I'm saying is I know that, I don't ever want anybody to fucking see me being like that, and I shouldn't be inflicted upon society. So I self-impose isolation. Suicide being the optimal fucking, solution. I should just get out of here and not be, because I'm.
Well, you definitely shouldn't
But
do women's
fucked up
sports.
agreements with other people, and so now I have family and stuff. So but I got to stick around. So I have to minimize my own harm to the whole fucking collective consciousness by just being isolated, and then staying aware that I am that guy. But it also leads me to believe that other people can say hurtful things and be recorded saying hurtful things, and that doesn't mean that is who they are, which is, I recognize that's a controversial opinion. I'm just saying one instance of where that could be the case is all I'm saying. I don't know if I brought the whole podcast.
In a fight or something, people say, like, it's different. I mean, like a guy sitting down to broadcast a girls' game should be like really a fan of the sports and the girls and everything, right. And then to have that come out, that's a bad person who's gonna fucking run somebody over or something. But if you're surrounded by 7 guys that happen to be green, you might call them green giants or some shit, and not really mean it. Like, oh fuck, I didn't really mean it. You guys
aren't really giants.
You fucking mongoloids! I didn't mean it. Like, come on. I'm sure your mom had a rough time delivering you.
We much preferred you calling us green giants than mongoloids.
Yeah, mongoloid's a tough fucking way to go.
The good thing is that I rarely get that enraged that I would do, behave that way. I just know that I have the potential to do that. I haven't done that before, but I just know that, like, once I got in a fight in basic training with the guy, and I called the guy a fucking bald-headed fucker while I was punching him, and we were all bald-headed fuckers because I didn't have a better insult. Like, sometimes it's just because I'm dumb and my fucking lizard brain just starts yelling insults. But the other day,
B-word, that's our word.
I went to Bisbee last week, and as I was driving in, there was somebody riding my ass all the way down by the high school there. And
Chad, where from Hereford to Bisbee is a 1-lane each direction, and aggressive passing when it's permitted, but there's it's not a 2-lane highway. We are connected by a very simple road.
But it's, for the most part, it's pretty empty.
Yes, absolutely.
I like that. Sure about. But occasionally, it's fucked up. But this was all the way over by the Bisbee High School.
Oh, shit.
I was coming down, and it's 35 through there, and I think I was going 38, and this person was just right on my ass, to the point where I told Jenny, I kind of want to brake check this person. And she's like, no, you don't need to brake check this person. And so I was like, all right. So I drove on through. I got up to the 4-way stop over there. A lot of people don't know what I'm talking about, but I come to a 4-way stop, and there are children, 3 of them, on scooters and bicycles, just doing fucking riding around in the intersection where I have to pull up and stop. One of them almost rides into another car looking at me. So I'm almost at a stop coming up before the stop sign even. This person on my ass starts laying on their horn. Like, what the fuck is your problem? I'm not going to run over a kid, motherfucker. I'm waiting for these children. Yeah. So I get out. I turn right down and go down towards the Warren ballpark there. And this person zips out immediately behind me and is now riding my ass again, just on that little stretch of road right there. So this time I don't even check with Jenny, and I just hammer on the fucking brakes. Like, when I brake check somebody, I'm hoping they're gonna fucking slide sideways so I can get out and talk to them. So I hammer on the brakes, and then
by just rolling down your window, they're gonna be right there next to you at the end of the process.
So this car whips around. This car whips around the side of me and takes off and passes me in a, like, now we're doing about 50 around the corner by Warren, because now I'm chasing this car, because now I'm gonna beat the fuck out of whoever this is.
Wait, hold on, I think I missed something. Which way are you headed? Because I think this is a clue.
All right, I came up to the 4-way stop.
Yeah, you took a right
and
towards
took a right.
where I live.
And
Yeah.
down towards the ballpark. So they passed me before the turn at the ballpark, and now I'm chasing them up.
Where did they turn?
They went up to hit the next stop next to the gas station, and went straight forward. I followed them, and they pulled into the Chiricahua Health Clinic there.
Yes.
So I pulled right in on their ass to beat the shit out of them. And I think right across from Christine Levine's.
Yeah,
and
can watch TV and you get into a fight at the same time.
It would have been. We would have been very close to her property line. So I whip in with my window down already, screaming, and Jenny starts yelling at me, "It's an old lady! It's an old lady!" And I recognized that it was an old lady. So I had to drive. And then I drove around the block, and then I still drove around the block and came back so that I could roll my window down and call her a fucking dumb cunt and intimidate her. And then, even though I knew I couldn't beat her up, but
yeah, you should give her something.
It's called closure. You just need some closure, man.
You need to be like that.
My Nana is house sitting our house in Bisbee, and she told me there was a run-in, the street tough at the clinic where she's going to donate blood.
Tell her to meet me on Black Knob.
So you're a nice guy. You should be like the guy in No Country for Old Men. Just fucking kill her the same as anybody else.
Flip a coin.
It did occur to me that if it was an old man, I probably would have fucked him up. I've lost that. I used to probably have that respect, and now I'm like, fuck it. I'm out of shape enough. I can find an old man.
What if you found out it was like an older version of you, a guy who was just like, he was ready to go out of this world, and he was just looking for someone who would take him out. He's been pissing people off until someone did it, and he was like, finally, I got Chad.
Both of us
by my younger self.
Yeah, sometimes it works. The two electrons of the same kind just hit each other. Beautiful. Yes, all electrons. All the electrons are the same.
My point was I shouldn't be out in public amongst people, and I get that.
No, we all need to be out in public as soon as we get vaxxed. I'm ready.
Getting close.
I'm actually, I think, 2 days away from a vax.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I mean, it's going to be a bit in our community because everybody here wants to get them, whereas in Arizona, they're like, half of the people don't show up, right? Or
well, it's a weird thing because we were just talking about it today. It's like, well, what do we want? Like they're just going to start taking all these reservations, like the airlines, and then go, oh, sorry, you drove in from Globe. There's no more vaccination. You have to be fucking judicial on this thing. You can't be willy-nilly, if I can throw that around.
Oh, yeah.
They just, in Arizona, they just opened it up to 55 and older, which just means just about anyone who wants it can get it. And now you all go, you have to slot in our little town in Cochise County in Bisbee. There's only so many doses they give. And,
it's not like math.
It'll happen.
This trip that I just described to you last week when I went to Bisbee was because Jenny didn't want to go by herself. She went over. Well, after all this happened, I started a fight in town, and then I had her drop me off over at Fury's house and let her take the Jeep back into town, which is kind of a dick move. Once I thought about it.
That's funny.
She went over, and there was no line in the COVID vaccination thing. She drove right up. They took her driver's license, gave her injection. She was right back to pick me up within a few minutes.
What if the lady in the car was like describing to her family this big scary guy that was like yelling at her, calling her a cunt, and then like drove this fucking car and like there's the car right there, there it is, and then it pulls up and little Jenny gets out. Like, Grandma, you're losing your fucking mind. We told you can't drive. We got to take Grandma's license away. She can't see. She thought this was a big fucking scary.
This does it. That's the nail in the coffin, Grandma. Fuck that. I'm gonna pretend that really happens
That's it.
now, Eric. It'll make me feel better about
Good.
myself
Perfect.
if I pretend that's really
Perfect.
what
You're
happened.
making the streets are safer.
She's in a
Alright.
home against her will. Hey, did you guys see that movie? I don't know if I talked about it with you guys. That on Netflix, I think it's called "I Care a Lot."
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. Terry Mitchell
It's
watched it just as
decent.
we were starting.
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
it's worth watching all the way through, but you'll feel inclined to quit it after 20 minutes.
Yes.
If you're like me, I was like,
Yes.
fuck this bitch.
And
know how
that's
it
why I
gets.
say it's
It's
kinda
decent. I don't want to recommend it, but it's,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
worth
like
watching.
Peter Dinklage. He's really good.
yes.
Yeah,
He's
we
no
mentioned,
hero.
we should
It'll
mention
make
Billy.
you feel
get
like
outta
you
here.
could write a movie.
Let's
That's
mention
a
Billy
fun-
Vardy and the Fantasy Island guy. So we have a
Hervé Villechaize.
yeah. They mentioned every little person.
Villechaize.
There's a lot more, but Peter Dinklage, Billy Vardy was
Wee
the
Man.
Wee Man,
Mhm.
yeah.
What's
Brad
Vern Troyer?
Williams is a comic that's he's
Vern
funny.
Troyer.
Is that his name, Brad Williams?
Brad
Yeah.
Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's
There
funny.
you go. That's it. That's all of them. That's
it.
all 9 of the midgets.
No, Willow, the guy who was on Willow.
Yeah, there's a reason they haven't
yeah.
I
remade
think
it.
his name is Willow.
Yeah, there's a
It is
reason they don't make.
Willow. He had to legally
Warwick
change to
Davis.
Willow so he could
Fuck
still
you,
get work.
Warwick Davis. I know his name. Fuck all of you.
There's a reason they don't make a remake of Wizard of Oz or really when they did the Oompa Loompa or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they didn't use midgets. They used a computer simulated same
That
dude.
was on the remake.
Yeah, so they can't even
I don't-
gather it. They
Wait,
couldn't
I
even
thought
gather
this computer simulated one midget. That wasn't even
Yeah,
a real
that's
midget.
what it
that
was.
they-
No,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, Hollywood couldn't
Yes,
even come
there
up with
was.
they couldn't come up with enough midgets to cover the Oompa Loompa shift, so they they had to make them. It's a
felt like
bummer.
a cheat, for sure.
Oh,
That had to be a letdown in the dwarf community when they found out there was going to be a Johnny Depp version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And then they're like, oh man, it is going to be fucking high times in Midget Town for the next 2 years. We are going to be
Yeah.
rich. And then you
Yeah.
find out only one of you is going to get a job.
They stood around in tiny lines
yeah,
for no
Yeah.
reason at all.
With tiny dreams.
waiting for their big break. This might be inadvertently our most offensive episode ever.
I think it might be.
Fuck.
And we've
Friendly.
had some pretty offensive ones
Not
too.
hateful.
Gender
Some
friendly,
people
but if
that
you got
we had a
Down
hard
syndrome,
R.
yeah, it's gender friendly. But if you got Down syndrome, you might want to avoid this one.
You know,
Well, if you
said-
have Down syndrome, just
I-
have anyone explain it to you.
I
Oh,
still fall
I'm-
on that word as a mechanic. You use the word you're timing an engine. If it's slower than it should be, it's retarded.
Retarded.
If it's faster, it's advanced. That's a technical word. It's not a slur.
Right.
It
Yeah.
use
just
it
means
many times.
Right. It's like
Slower.
fire retardant.
yeah. It just means you fire off a little
Doesn't
bit
mean
slower than you're supposed to.
Your carburetor's not dumb.
It means it means you're gonna run a little bit rich.
What are you gonna call a Kentucky police officer that's harassing somebody for no reason?
Sir,
Retard.
Something.
Yeah.
Retard.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be very,
Well, that-
very nice to the Kentucky police officers because insulting a Kentucky police officer may be a crime very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
there's so much
In the land of free
bullshit
speech.
online about people losing their free speech rights, and all cancel culture is censoring us, and no one can say what they want to say anymore. And then this happens, and this is an actual example of your free speech rights being violated. Words that are coming out of your mouth are now against the law. This is the one thing that people should be outraged about when it comes
Oh,
to
yeah.
the
like someone like in an authority figure. Like it's
Yeah.
not. It's like they decide right then and there that was offensive to me. You're under arrest. That's
Yeah.
even more.
not- this is it. This is how it's written in. It's not any insult. It's got to be an insult that, quote, provokes a violent response. So that means what they're saying is that their police officers are such primal base beasts that there are words that you could say to them that they can't do anything but respond violently to.
Yeah.
Like that is
visceral reaction will be incarceration.
Yeah. Your Honor, he hit him right in the face with a stick. Wow, he must have been really mad at him. Fuck, that guy's guilty. He's really guilty. How many times did he hit him? 10? Nah, he's way guilty then. He hit him 10 times.
Yeah. Sounds like they just got that whole sticks and stones things all confused. Like the words will really hurt us, but and we will hurt you with our fun. It's like you got a shield and a nightstick. That's when you put up with the more shit, right? They call you faggot, get in your face. Your comedy sucks. I hate you. You got right? You know. That's restraint,
just,
you know.
Boy, when you talk shit, nobody knows it's you. Fuck you, pig.
Yes. So I'm sure anytime the cops beat somebody, it'll be because, well, you know what he said first. So
yeah, he called me fat.
He said I'm fat. Yeah. Sure it took me 5 minutes to catch him, and I was breathing hard when I got here.
I do want to say,
I'm a little diabetic.
I can't wait till the future murder documentary movies where the policeman strategically knew, like the BLM protester was fucking his wife and then targeted him and killed him on the thing and tried to pretend it was just a whole self-defense thing, but it was a whole.
Eventually,
I watched fucking murder mystery. I guess I'm fishing for something better.
Eventually, the cops will plant other undercover cops in the crowd that will hurl insults at the police, that will give the police the excuse they want to come swinging into the crowd with every.
Yeah, there'll just be one guy like in a quarterback's jersey, you know, in practice, a red jersey where he comes up and he's Antifa, but the cops are all aware of it. And he's like, "Hey, you tubby fucking
don't hit him! Don't hit him!
You fucking losers, you scumbag cocksuckers."
Yeah. I do want to say that I don't want this guy to get a free pass. This is from one of these. That's not free speech to me.
What's he doing?
I can't see what we're looking at.
He's sitting on it's a black dude sitting on a cop car on the back of the trunk, and the cop car there's lights. He's going, this is not free speech. This is not what we're talking about. But this is one of the pictures that came up in the article about you should be able to say whatever you want. This is being confused.
What?
Yeah, this is being confused with free speech. That's not free speech. That's someone.
No,
isn't that a Cleveland steamer or what's the name of that?
Listen, that guy is just hitching a ride.
I think that's. Yeah.
He's got something. His one leg is shorter than the other. He's got a big shoe.
Lead
he
foot.
Can't hardly walk. His pants are falling down, and he needed a lift.
Yeah, how big is that shoe?
Cripple Kenny.
Cripple Kenny. Call my brother.
Get a hold of my lawyer.
No, that is not.
There was that picture.
That seems to me to be a picture selected for its the response it would viscerally.
It was in the same news. It was in the same newscast that talked about this bill and talking to people about why freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's what that's their argument. You see what we're up against? That's their argument.
It wasn't. This was their excuse.
I've never had speech stain my underpants ever. That's different. He's taking a shit. And that's he's a poet.
He was a white guy. If he was a white guy on a skateboard holding onto the bumper, everybody would think it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, that is a statement piece. I don't think I have. Never mind. I was going to say I've never shit for political purposes, but I did.
Yeah, Andy gives us part of the story. We have to.
Well.
I also have selfies.
You've heard it.
I have selfies of Andy and I smoking joints in Las Vegas in front of cop car.
Before it was legal.
I just like it when Andy starts a story with, well, one thing I've never for sure done is, oh, wait a minute, I have done
Hold
that.
on a second.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Wait a minute, now that I think about it, I've done that a couple of
Let's
times.
go back.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah, actually,
I'm doing it
never
right
mind.
now.
Strike it from the record. Yes, I was working with Norm, a comedian named Norm. He used to be one of the running around in the van with us. But we were in Appleton, and he goes, "I'd never do coke before a show." And I go, "Really?" Somebody just handed me some. I'm about to go do some in the stairwell, and he was like, right there with me. It's like, well, you said never. You said just you declared never. So maybe rarely or
It's
sometimes.
either never, or in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Would
are
you say
that's
you
it.
never, sometimes, rarely?
Like the Steve Martin smoking pot bit.
Yeah.
But I would only smoke it in the late evening. Oh, occasionally I'd smoke it in the early evening, but only the early or the late evening. But never at dusk. No, I would never do that. All right, let's get out of here, guys.
I had fun.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Hold on a
Let's see,
second.
what do we got? Got to mention. We got Andy's Venmo. Andy dash Andrus at Venmo. If you got anything to send to Andy, feel free to send him little trinkets and gifts and fun things, and hit him up with some cash for his commissary fund. It always helps.
Things
Friend
like
of the show.
this. That was sent to me.
Yeah,
That was a total
exactly.
surprise. I did not expect.
That makes you think of that's happiness.
Nice.
So do that, and subscribe to Chad Shank's Twitch channel. You can do that with an Amazon Prime subscription. You get one for free if you don't otherwise use it. You can use that one on Chad and join him a couple times a week as he live streams with the gang over there. Yeah,
I'm trying a new format.
Right on.
I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and I just ride around in a taxi cab while I just smoke weed and talk to people. So it's
I like
Awesome.
that.
I don't really have to play video games. Hey,
I'm gonna, yeah.
Leave that slide up. I want to insert something real quick before you do this Andy's thing, because I want to go back to Sam Tallent's Running the Light audio book. I pre-ordered it on Audible, and right away it popped up, and the very first thing it says is narrated by Greg Shaley, Tracy Shaley, Trey Crowder, Tim Dillon, Dave Gabori, Chris Gethard, like a whole list of people. But the very top billing for narrating on Running the Light by Sam Talent is Greg Shaley and Tracy Shaley.
I want to say thank you to the Academy.
Yeah.
To all the people that matter in my life. You know who you are. Everyone at CAA.
Very cool.
Got me the gig.
Start playing the music.
Very cool.
Yeah, I didn't know you were on that. That's great.
Fantastic.
I think it's, what's really funny is when I just saw that. I think I did a voice when like Doug did something, and I said, "Oh," and then Doug said something. I go, "I don't know." I don't even remember what I did.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "You need a voice, and you need to do it." And then I end up like, that is my thing. That was like at my fucking Darwin funeral. There will be a lot of empty beer cans underfoot, and someone will say, "And let's not forget, he was instrumental in the Running the Light audiobook."
Right off the bat, narrated by.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I have one plug also. I'm in a podcast with John Norris and Matt Collins, two comics from Anchorage, Alaska. It is a totally ridiculous podcast. It's called Mixtape Time Machine, where those two pick a song from 1998, and they explain to me why their song is better, and I get to judge, which is the fucking perfect job, because I can just not like the person that sings the song or play keyboards. I don't fucking care. I get to base it on their assessment of the song. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
and those guys are
like,
great.
yeah,
You
they're
guys know
very
both of them.
funny.
John Norris was
all
with me.
right.
John Norris was with me on the Near the Wild podcast. So he was the
Mhm.
star.
Yeah, John's
Norris is great.
hilarious.
And Matt Collins is also very funny.
Yeah, funniest guy in
And you're a grumpy old man. So really, they've got everybody
It's like-
figured out. It's perfect.
perfect,
The
right?
traveling Wilburys.
There hasn't been a real rock and roll song since Def Leppard.
I
That's
don't-
how I'd play it. That's how I'd play it.
Right now we're in 1998, which is after I was playing in a band, so it gets really. I have to go listen to stuff. Stop listening to music when I had to stop playing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't know any of them.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. It's good to see you guys. Good to see all of you out there. Thanks for being out there. We love you. I know we have a board meeting. I think maybe by when this comes out, maybe this day. But we'll see you there. And hit us up. Let us know what you think. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Do all of that good stuff. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Oh my